Today is the day where I finally make my way too early 2025 Formula 1 predictions. I've never been wrong before on any prediction I've ever made in my entire Formula 1 YouTubing career. That's a joke, by the way. With that being said, leave your predictions in the comments section down below for the 2025 Formula 1 season. My name is Chris. Welcome back to CFRacing and enjoy the video. Alright, in P21, yes, I am not doing P20 this year because I can almost guarantee that there will be at least 21 drivers in Formula 1 in 2025. I'm not going to predict anybody else that could possibly sub in, like a Bottas or something, but I have Jack Doohan currently in P21 because he's going to be replaced by Colapinto after the fifth race of the season, which is Saudi Arabia. So I guess Colapinto's first race will be in Miami if it goes by that, but right now I do have Doohan in 21st place. In P20, I guess you can call this dead last, I have Isaac Hadjar. I do not think that the RB is going to be a good car next year. In fact, I think they're going to be the worst car in 2025. And Hadjar, as a rookie, I'm not too sold on him. I hope he proves me wrong. He seems like a good kid, but at the moment, I have him in P20. In P19, I have Gabriele Bortoleto, and I mean, just kind of like Hadjar. I mean, I think he's better than Hadjar, but I mean, the stake is not really that good either. I mean, I think P10 in the Constructors Championship is going to be a stake versus RB shootout, and I think it'll come down really to the main driver of the team, who's going to be like Hulkenberg or Tsunoda, really who will perform better in those cars. Both of them are rookies. I think Bortoleto has a higher ceiling than Hadjar, so that's why I have him in P19. In P18, I have Franco Colapinto, and I mean, if he replaces if he replaces Doohan after race 5, he's gonna have 19 races and a couple of sprint races to score more points than Bortoleto and Hadjar, and obviously Jack Doohan. So I have him in P18. He could go much higher if the Alpine is a lot better, like they were at the end of the season. But right now, I have him in 18th. I don't think he'll be anywhere near as good as he was last year in the Williams, or if anything, he'll be similar to how he ended the season of Williams, and hopefully he doesn't cause Alpine too much crash damage. But at the moment, I have him in P18. In P17, I have Yuki Tsunoda, and a lot of you guys might think this is very low for Yuki Tsunoda, and it could be very low. I mean, I think Yuki Tsunoda as a driver is a lot better than everybody else who I've mentioned on this list so far, but I just don't think the RB is going to be a very good car next year, so that's why I have Yuki Tsunoda in P17, but I could be completely wrong about this. RB could have a great car. I mean, this will just be a terrible prediction, but who knows. In P16, I have Nico Hulkenberg, and in his first season as a stake, F1 team Kick Sauber. I don't even know what to call him anymore. I don't know what to say. They're going to be Audi next year, or not next year, the year after next year. I know it's going to be next year. It's 2026. So that's exciting. So they're going to be Audi next year, so it'll be cool to see Hulkenberg get an Audi, but at the moment, the stake car is not very good. This is higher than what Bottas and Joe did last year, and by the end of the year, that Sauber car was kind of on the fringe of points, and I think with Hulkenberg in that car for a full season, with a car that's not completely trash, I think he'll be in P16 at the maximum, but he could be lower. P15, another rookie. I have Ollie Behrman. Honestly, I could see him finishing ahead of Esteban Ocon, but just as a rookie season, and I know Ocon's really good, I have Behrman in 15th. He could be below Tsunoda and Hulkenberg. I was really debating it, but just those the races that we saw him perform in Baku, in obviously Saudi Arabia for Ferrari last year, really boosts up his stock for me, and I got Behrman in P15. In P14, I have Alexander Albon, and you guys might think I'm crazy having Williams this high on the list, but that driver lineup is really good, and I trust what the Williams is going to be doing next year or this year in 2025. I think just in general, the drivers obviously are better than most of the guys, and the cars that are better lower on in this list. But I got Albon in 14th. I don't think he's going to beat Sainz, and I was really debating putting him like just above Colapinto, but I'm like, you know what, screw it, they're gonna have a pretty good season. Sainz knows how to develop a car. Like, he helped develop Ferrari, he helped develop McLaren, like, he knows what he's doing. He's not an idiot. So I have Albon up into P14. In P13, I have Esteban Ocon, and I really debated just putting him one spot above Behrman, but I decided to put him 2 spots ahead because I think he's gonna be ahead of Behrman in the start of the season, and usually Haas kind of tends to peak at the start of a year, so I think that'll be a good spot for Esteban Ocon to score quite a few points for that Haas team. I know he's also a new driver going to that team, which definitely doesn't help him or Behrman. But either way, I think Ocon will have a good start to the season, and plus he'll have a team that actually kind of trusts him. So that's a really good start for Esteban Ocon, because last year with Alpine, those cars were not equal, the ones that him and Gasly had, because he was beating Gasly at the end of last year, at the beginning of last year. So we'll see. If Esteban Ocon can. In 12th, I have Lance Stroll, and honestly, I wanted to put him lower on this list, but I'm a biased Canadian, so I have Lance Stroll in 12th. I do think the Aston Martin is going to be like basically 5th again. I don't see them being any lower than 5th or any higher than 5th. They're just the most mid team ever. They're kind of like Alpine before Alpine decided to suck. So I got Lance Stroll in 12th. That's literally like the lowest I could probably really put him. I mean, maybe Ocon will finish ahead of him. But I don't know. Lance Stroll finds a way to somehow go lower than my predictions every year, so he'll probably be like 15th or something. And in P11, the the last guy to not be in the top 10 is Carlos Sainz, and I think he's gonna have a really good season for Williams. It's weird because whenever I simulate F1 Manager, Albon always beats Sainz for some reason. I don't get it because like Sainz's rating is like 8 points higher than Albon, but I think Sainz is gonna be a lot better than Albon this year, and I think he might get a little bit exposed. But either way, that's still a really good positioning for a Williams driver. P11. I don't know when the last time they had a driver who finished P11. Probably like Bottas or Massa back in like 2016 or something like that. Okay, we are now into the top 10, and I actually threw Pierre Gasly in there. This was bold. I was really debating Carlos Sainz, not gonna lie. But I got Gasly in the top 10. He did it this year. I know he got carried by that one podium and by the end of the season, but by the end of that season, Gasly was absolutely rapid, and he was carrying Alpine on its shoulders, besides Brazil where Ocon got that P2. But yeah, I think Gasly, I mean, if he got P10 last year in that donkey of a car, he can easily get P10 again in the 2025 Alpine, which I think is going to be a lot better, but I mean, we'll have to see because his teammates aren't very good. In P9, I have Fernando Alonso, and I realistically think this is the highest Fernando Alonso can place, and also the lowest Fernando Alonso can place on here. Maybe there's a possibility he could finish like, I don't know, 7th or 6th or 8th or something. Depends on how good that Aston Martin really is. But if the car was just like what it was last year, a clear 5th, then yeah, he's finishing 9th. He's not finishing 10th. He's not finishing 8th. He just can't catch up to the guys in front, but he's also nowhere near slower than the guys behind. So I got Alonso in P9. In P8, I got Andrea Kimi Antonelli, a rookie driving for Mercedes. I think he'll be pretty good. In fact, I think he'll get a couple of podiums. I think that'll be really awesome if he can get a few podiums. I do not think he'll get a win this season. I think Alonso might get a podium this year. That could be a cool prediction too. I don't think Antonelli's gonna get a win this year. I would love to. I think it'd be great if he got a win. That'd be cool for Italy, you know? A good old Italian driver getting a win. But yeah, I think Mercedes isn't going to be super good this year, so I have Antonelli in P8. And in P7, I have Liam Lawson. This is the spot where I really should have put Perez last year. I was really debating it last year. I remember I'm like, do I put Perez 7th or do I put him like 4th or something? But yeah, here we go. We got Liam Lawson in 7th. I'm basically just taking the spot of Perez. I don't think he's better than any of the drivers ahead of him in the standings, obviously. Same with Antonelli at the moment. In fact, I would even be fine swapping Antonelli and Lawson. I don't know. I don't see much potential or not much ceiling in Liam Lawson, but they have to throw a guy in there. If Tsunoda was in this car, arguably top 5. But Tsunoda's not in that car, so I got Lawson in P7. In P6, I got George Russell, probably a low spot on the ranking for him. I just don't think Mercedes is going to be very good next year, especially with Red Bull, Ferrari, and McLaren pushing for that Drivers' and Constructors' Championship. At least Red Bull just from the hands of Verstappen for the drivers. They're probably not, Red Bull's not winning the Constructors next year, there's no way. But neither is Mercedes, so that's why I got George Russell in P6. His qualifying will probably be very good next season. I think he's going to absolutely stomp Antonelli. Like, it'll probably be a big gap between P6 and P8 in the driver standings, but either way, P6 for George Russell. P5, I got Oscar Piastri, and I know a lot of Australians, a lot of Sims are probably not going to like this one, but we got Oscar Piastri in 5th. He was kind of exposed at the beginning and at the end of 2024. His really saving grace was that middle third of the season where he won in Baku, and yeah, that was really, I know he won in Hungary too, but that was really Lando Norris's win. But yeah, Oscar Piastri, I have him in 5th. I don't think he's better than Lando Norris or Hamilton or Verstappen or Charles Leclerc. And if all the cars are equal, he's finishing 5th anyway. So I got Piastri in 5th. And in 4th, Hamilton fans are not going to like this one, I have Lewis Hamilton. I think he's going to take a while to get up to speed with that Ferrari. I mean, it's the last year of this regulation change, and Hamilton has driven a Mercedes his entire life. I know he drove for McLaren, but it was a McLaren Mercedes back in the day. Then he drove a Mercedes. The braking is completely different from Ferrari to Mercedes engines. I think he's going to take a while to adapt, and if he can adapt his qualifying as well to be quick, F1 is definitely going to be more of a qualifying formula next year or this year. So I got Hamilton in P4, which is still good, obviously, but it's just not great. In third, Lando Norris. Yep, sorry, Norris fans, you're not winning the championship this year. That's just how it's going to be. I mean, he blew it last year. He should have won that championship. Lando Norris, I got him in third. I think he'll be good. He'll obviously be better than Oscar Piastri. His qualifying is going to be fantastic. He might even have most poles next year. I wouldn't even be surprised if he does. But I just don't think he'll win the championship, so I got him in third place. And in second place, I got Max Verstappen, so that means Charles Leclerc's world champion. Don't quote me, don't anything. But I got Verstappen in P2, and that's just because I think the Red Bull isn't going to be the best car next year, or not even the second, maybe not even the third best car next year. But Verstappen himself is just an unreal god tier driver, and he'll at least put that car into second, maybe third at the worst. But yeah, I got Verstappen third, and that means Charles Leclerc is going to be the World Drivers' Champion. I haven't predicted Leclerc as the World Champion since 2022, and it started off well, then it didn't end off well, but it started off well. I didn't predict him in 2023. I think I predicted Verstappen, and obviously last year I predicted Verstappen as well. So it's time again to pick Charles Leclerc as the World Drivers' Champion. Everything is just going good, or is just looking good for Ferrari this year. And I say that every year, but this year just is, I don't know, I feel like it's different. We got like Godfather Lewis Hamilton joining the team. The car apparently is going to go to like pull rod front or whatever they didn't do last year. It's going to be good. 90% of the car is changing. I'm hyped for this year, and I'm sure you guys will be hyped for it as well. If we're taking a look at the Constructors Championship, I'm sure you can tell by my drivers' placings, but I got Racing Bulls in P10 in the Constructors. I think they're going to absolutely suck next year. I think their car is going to be the worst on the grid. A lot of people are really writing Sauber off. I mean, I don't blame them, but I got Sauber in 9th. But I got Racing Bulls in P10. I just think they're just not going to be very good. I think Hulkenberg's really going to carry Sauber, and Bortoleto has so much potential as well, so he could possibly score some points next year, maybe. We'll have to see. If he does, that'd be great. If he doesn't, then, I mean, I'm sure Hulkenberg will score some points. You never know. Maybe Hulkenberg will finally get that road podium. I think that'll be awesome. In P8, unfortunately, it's going to be Haas. I guess they're going to take a step back this year. I know they were fighting for 6th, which was super exciting last year, but I don't see them fighting for 6th next year, which is a little bit unfortunate with a Behrman and Ocon lineup. It's an exciting driver lineup, but I just don't think the car will be as good. But you never know. They are getting a simulator. They got like Toyota joining them as well, so maybe Haas will be like 5th. Who knows? In 7th, I have Alpine. Yes, they're not finishing 6th this year. Good job, Alpine. But yeah, I got Alpine finishing in P7 just because I think their only driver who's going to be remotely like close to competitive is going to be Pierre Gasly. I have him 10th in the driver standings, but they're going to have to come across the P6 team, which is going to be Williams. This is very bold because I know Williams said they're really not going to focus on 2025, but I think they're going to have a really good season because Carlos Sainz isn't going to want to just drive at the back of the grid, and we know how Carlos Sainz gets when he's in a little bit of a predicament. He gets a little bit feisty. So Carlos Sainz, I think, and Albon obviously will carry Williams. They might not be a faster car than Alpine, but I think that driver combination will put that Williams ahead of Alpine and possibly and obviously ahead of Haas as well. In 5th, most obvious thing ever is going to be Aston Martin. If they're not 5th, then oh well, whatever. But I think they're going to be 5th. It's quite possible. I mean, they're going to have Newey, I think, starting in like March or something. So maybe they climb up to 4th. Who really knows? But I got Aston Martin in 5th. I don't think that's really anything to laugh at. I think they're going to be 5th. In 4th, we got Mercedes. We got George Russell, who's arguably top 3 driver on the grid. And then we have Andrea Kimi Antonelli, who's a complete, I wouldn't say, no, I'm not going to say nobody, but he's a complete unknown. He's like probably the most potential on the grid besides like Verstappen and Leclerc, really. But I just don't think Mercedes is going to have a good car. So that's why I have Mercedes in 4th. And in 3rd, I have Red Bull, obviously carried by Max Verstappen. I don't think they're going to win the Constructors' Championship this year. And if they do and have like a 2023-esque season, I will be very upset because Leclerc didn't win the championship. But we got Red Bull in 3rd. And in 2nd, it's going to be McLaren. Sorry, McLaren, you are not going back-to-back. I mean, they should have won both titles this year. That's why they, whatever. But McLaren, I think they're going to finish 2nd. because I'm a delusional Ferrari fan. That means Ferrari is going to be winning the World Drivers and Constructors Championship for the first time since 2008 for the Constructors and 2007 for the Drivers Championship, making it the greatest glory year ever until we go into a new regulation change where we'll probably be like 6th or something heading into 2026. With that being said, let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below, and leave your predictions as well down there, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.